And you are live, my dear.
So I have been talking to you guys about something that actually will help to not only bring clarity to your business, but also boost your confidence. Brand clarity is something that I'm really knowledgeable about, but also allowing people to understand it's not just about your logo. There's a lot of other facets that go into your branding, and that's what we're going to talk about today. But we'll do a little icebreaker first. We're going to play name that brand, okay? Pretty simple, pretty self-explanatory. When I show you the colors or the shapes, just tell me out loud what brand you think this is. So if you can tell me which one of these is the Reese's candy.
Orange.
Okay.
On the left, yeah.
Okay. If this was class, you'd all get an A. I appreciate that. What about this one?
Lays.
Oh, so pretty quickly, right? Even though the words are missing, you still understand exactly what it is, right? And that's the point of experience. And also in branding and communication. So my actual degree is in graphic communication, which is a blend of graphic design and marketing and communication. So I get the best of both worlds. And so I also teach on the college level UX UI design and implementing what I've shared or learned over the years to my design students. And I also have a certificate in women's entrepreneurship as well. And so I've worked with everyone from nonprofits to enterprise teams, small businesses, and also doing more education outside of the school as well, and speaking in workshops. So lots of brand design, lots of knowledge about it, and I'm happy to share what I've learned so far and hope for you to apply it for yourselves. So first I'm going to give you some design facts and statistics, which I think is something powerful, really. So visual communication hits people way faster than text ever does. So the colors, right? Those are the first things that you're noticing, and they're universal. So it's not necessarily needed to know the language if the symbol is universal, right? So the human brain processes images 60,000 times faster than text, which is insane. If you really think about it, that's why when you're driving down the street, if you see the Nike swoosh logo, it immediately registers, right? Because you're familiar with that symbol, and you don't have to take time. You shouldn't be really reading anything while you're driving, but you don't have to take that time to use that wording, right? Another thing, consistent branding can lift brand sales by 33%. That's significant. I'll give you an example. Let's say you go into a grocery store. Unfortunately, when you're in the grocery store, you're not allowed to taste all of the food in the aisle before you purchase it. So when you're in there, you have to decide, let's say a jar of peanut butter, right? You can't taste all the peanut butter. So you have to make your purchasing decision based on the branding before you even try the product. You're just looking at what looks nice. And that says a lot. Before your reputation can even be determined, someone is taking home your product based on what it looks like. That's how important branding is. 75% of clients rate a business's credibility based on their website design. So 94% of consumers report that poor website design makes them suspicious. Because I don't know about you, but I'm not putting my credit card into a janky site. It's just not going to happen, right? So the first thing I'm looking at whether they take their branding serious. If you take your branding serious, then I'm going to take you serious. And that's why it's so important to have your branding in place. That's a really big factor. It's not just about looking pretty, although you do want to look pretty. You want to look nice, but that's not what it's about. It's about the functionality and the consistency that comes with the branding that's most important. So on a scale of 1 to 10, out of curiosity, how confident are you with your current brand's current designing? And you all don't have to speak, but anyone want to raise your hand and say a scale of 1 to 10?
A 12.
A 12. This is perfect. That's a good one.
I'd say I'm kind of close to her. I'd say 10, like 9.5, because you always have room for improvement.
Yeah.
But yeah.
That's awesome. That's good. That means you're confident in what you have, which is no problem. Even if you weren't confident, that's what we're here to talk about. It's why we're working together so that we can get you to that confidence. Anyone else want to chime in?
I'm not as confident. I'm more at like a 6.
Okay. So you have some knowledge, but there's areas of improvement.
For sure, yeah.
Okay.
I'm like at an 8 because like I keep it consistent, but I feel like I don't know. I'm my biggest critic, so.
Yeah, that happens too. Funny enough, being a designer, I'm still a critic of my own stuff. So I understand you're always just wanting to make sure you're presenting your best. So that's a good thing to want to do. But when we're talking about branding, think of it like a language. So there's something called VBL, or Visual Brand Language. And that's allowing similar design characteristics throughout an entire line of products. That allows the consumer to know it belongs in the same family. And so thinking about that brand consistency, a great one is Apple. Good old Apple. I think they're one of the greatest brand narratives that can possibly be out there. If you didn't know, in 1976, the original Apple logo was Isaac Newton with the Macintosh Apple. And it was very decorative, but at that time, decorative logos was really in. They really cared about the hand drawing because they didn't have digital computers yet, where you can start creating it more simplistic. So they took a lot of time to make this, but as you see, in the very next year, in 1977, they created the Macintosh symbol. But if you look, although it's slightly tweaks in the color, it stayed the same. And that says a lot for a millions and $1 million company who understands the brand consistency is what matters most. When you look at the back of your phone, my laptop has that signature Apple logo. You know that it's an Apple product, and that says a lot. And they can say, okay, if I know it's Apple, I can trust it because you built that trust and credibility over the years. And so it's very recognizable wherever you go. Again, it doesn't matter what language you speak. I see this in China, I can see this in Uzbekistan, and you will know that this is the Apple logo. And that's what you want to get familiar with your brand, having that uniformity so that it's simple but recognizable.
That was the first one in 1970. I've never seen it.
Yes. Isn't it crazy? It looks completely different.
Totally different.
But I'm very glad and grateful for them to recognize that they needed to simplify.
Yeah, it's a little busy.
Yeah, because I mean, it needed to change, but it was during that time it made sense. But they understand how that recognition is going to bring them more of that trust and consistency, and honestly, it's easier to print than the other one, right?
And Bianca, as you speak, are we able to have you kind of like come to the
Yeah,
side of it so
yeah.
we can see the screen a little more?
Yeah, of course. Sorry about that.
Oh, that's okay.
I'm glad. Never know.
That way when you go to look, you'll see. We got you. There we go.
So let's talk about visual clutter. Like this spring, you just don't want it. When more is not actually better, you want to make sure a couple things. One, digital clutter is a silent killer of your brand. When you have all of these call to actions where you're saying we're the greatest on earth, and then you say balance and beauty, and then you say we're #1 here. That sounds great. These are all positive things, but that isn't recognizable. If you want your, whatever that call to action or whatever that tagline is, you want it to be consistent. And when you're having all of these mixed messages, that just causes brain overload. Somebody only has really 3 to 10 seconds to make a decision. And so if they have too many things and they have to think further, they're going to go with the one that's simpler. And that's just what it is. That's why sometimes these no-name brands, they get the product and they get that service because it's simple. When you have a no-name brand and it says potato chips, I know it's potato chips. You have all this stuff that's talking about all of these ingredients and all this stuff that's going on, and it was made in California, and it was all of this. That's great, but the buying decision time has passed. So you just want to make sure that you are sticking to something that is a clear call to action, clear brand messaging, so that they don't opt out before they even know that you're great. Don't like it's okay if you want to be #1, but just make sure that your branding just consistently says that. So I'll give you an example. I listen to 93.3 FOZ. They call themselves the Tampa Bay's #1 hit music station. I know that because I've heard it so many times. They could have said, you know, we have the best radio, we have the best radio host, or we have the best, that's all great, but I can remember Tampa Bay's #1 hit music station. That rolls off the tongue. So you want something that rolls off the tongue, but yet consistent, right? So make sure you avoid that decision fatigue so that you can allow people to convert. Does anyone have any questions about that? And so when you clear that clutter out, that allows for you to boost conversions. Because at the end of the day, we have these businesses because we want people to purchase, to be a part of our services, right? And so you are allowing them to clearly see what you offer. And yes, I do understand that sometimes you wonder, am I leaving anything out? So I'll give you an example for myself. As a brand designer, I don't list out all of the things that I serve. And you just can't. They will, once they come to you, you can explain more about what you offer. But when you are initially coming in, you're visually communicating, and that is where you want to put them. It's just like with Apple. They don't say, we've got watches, we got phones, we got computers. They do, but they allow that simplicity to bring that person in first. Then you can talk to them about the other products, and that's really how you start converting to the other things. You allow people to come in. You're not missing out, and you're not saying everything. You're actually making it clearer for people to come to you. Okay? And so, one of the things that I recommend doing is to audit your website and audit your social media. Are they consistent? So are you saying one message on your social media, but then when I go to your website, that tagline is nowhere? Like, I came here because that intrigued me, but then I go to your site, or even colors. Are your colors green and blue on social media, but then I go and it's purple and red? Well, who's this? I don't know who it is. Your brain associates those things together, so you want it to be unified. And so not only your visuals unified, but your messaging. You need to tell a clear story everywhere. That you need to perfect that story, reverse that story, whatever that looks like for you. Be clear about what it is. And don't worry about who you're leaving out. Your niche is what brings people in. You don't want to be general. You go to and it's no offense to someplace like Fiverr. No offense to them, but there's a lot of general designers, right? They do everything. They do animations, and then they do business cards, and then they do this. Well, I want somebody who specializes in small businesses so that I understand that they know me. So don't worry, your niche is actually what's going to bring people in. So focus on your page, focus on your social media, and that will allow you to have one call to action, not 5 of them. You can tweak them as you need to. If you see that there's a call to action that's no longer working, it's okay to make tweaks. But stick it out for a second. See how it actually converts. Give it some time, and then you can make changes. All right? Any questions about that? Yes.
I was wondering if at the end of your presentation, if you would be willing to do like a quick social media audit for someone, just kind of look at their page and see what that looks like. I want to volunteer myself.
I love that. That was one of the things you were doing when you reached out to me. That's a good question. She was offering that when you reached out to me.
Just a little quick little browse.
Little something.
Yeah, a little something.
I can absolutely do that for you. And I'm glad you asked because this will give us real live time to see what that looks like in action so you can see how for yourself that you can make those tweaks. I have a feeling yours is going to be great. Now you can point out the things that work as well. I think that's going to be great. And when we talk about that, you'll see what it looks like where you need to have that brand consistency. That's what really matters most. Sometimes people think that you need to have this crazy production team or brand team. And even as a designer, I'm going to say, start where you are. You have Canva. If you have something that you can use to work yourself, that's fine. but just be consistent in what you're offering in that. And we'll talk now about a mini brand guide so that you guys can understand and again take home what you can use for your own branding to make sure it's consistent. So when we're talking about brand guidelines, think of it like a cheat sheet for your voice and your visuals. And so it's basically essentially a one-pager that helps to keep your brand looking and sounding like you. And another reason why you want a brand guideline, let's say you have a videographer and you have a photographer and you have a website designer and a brand designer. That's a great team. You just got a great budget. But when you're talking to them, you want them all to be on the same page of what you're offering. And this brand guidelines will allow them to know things like your voice, your fonts, your colors, so that everybody is reporting back with the same thing. So there's no second guessing. And even if you're not a designer and you're working by yourself, this will help you to stay on the same page. So you're not using 5 different fonts in different places, although they might all be cute, but now you have something that's consistent. So let's talk about that. But first, I would love to know who has a brand guideline in here.
I have a brand kit. Is
Yeah,
that the same?
exactly.
Okay.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah,
With my
right.
colors, my fonts.
Yes.
I have all of my logos transparent. I have them in different colors,
Yes.
just depending on where they need to sit.
Perfect, and that's exactly what you want. Again, it's like a roadmap for anybody to be able to know who you are without needing to know you. You sit down for an hour and explain everything. Anyone else have a brand guideline? Anyone else thought about
I'm going to sound antiquated. My company's been in existence. We're entering year 17. So the guy who there's a team who manages the website.
Yeah.
Our shirts are the same in
Yeah.
terms of the pitch, the whatever. My daughter handles that side of it, but I would be I got a brand guide.
Good, good. And if you don't have one, feel like you did. I'll tell you what you need to have in there. So, this is a checklist of things to consider for your mini brand guideline. Let's talk about imagery. Because if you're using stock photos, which are totally fine, just make sure your stock photos and your imagery, whatever you're using, aligns with your brand messaging. So if your brand is about, living effortlessly free, you want a girl blowing and going, right? And you don't want to all of a sudden have a truck driver image that has nothing to do with it, right? So you just want to make sure it's very unified. And then also your logo usage. Some people have more than one logo. Some people have a symbol logo. Like, for example, Nike has a swoosh, and then Nike has their name. So those are 2 different ones. Where are you using those at? So with Nike, they're more than likely using it on their apparel, right? And then on their actual tag, they might have the name Nike. So thinking about where you're using your logos in different places and have that written out so that, again, that you hand your stuff to a designer, they know, okay, I need to use this one for business cards, and then if I'm going to make a window decal, I know I can use X, Y, and Z. And then also your brand voice and your brand tone. How do you speak? Are you more serious? Because if you're a lawyer, I do want you to be serious if you're a lawyer. I don't know if I want you to be like, what's up, dude? I don't know if I want that. But then if you're a surfboard company from Laguna Beach, you might say what's up, dude. And it goes with your brand. And I don't want you to be serious. I actually want you to be light and effortless. So what is the 2 to 3 words that describes who you are? And so, again, like a lawyer might be more professional, and so they might use more, professional settings for their designs. Your color palette. What are your 2 to 3 core colors? Some people have accent colors, but what are your 2 to 3 main colors? Think Starbucks green. That's a specific green, right? They're not using light green. It's a Starbucks green. Coca-Cola red. It's a very specific red. It's not that bright, it's not that dark. It's like right in the middle, and it's very specific. Look at those big brands. Even McDonald's, they have a certain red and yellow. And then even consider how those colors would make someone feel, because there's actually something called color psychology, where, well, let's look right here. This is my happy place. Look at that. Look at that. That has that bright circle, right? And that allows me to think, this is going to be a good place. And look at the lighting in here. Look at all of that. Even this exact place. Or even look at Siobhan. You can see that she has this bright red, and you can tell she takes it serious. And she has the red accents on her earrings. That says a lot. She cares about her branding. She's very consistent with her branding. That says even the red. Exactly, like that is a brand consistency. And for myself, I have this honeybee thing, so I do the black and the yellow. So I stay consistent. It's not that you can't use accent colors when needed, but just have that core family. So then that leads me to fonts. You need to choose 1 to 2 main fonts. So again, you might have a cursive, and you might have a more standard. If you don't know, there's something called serif fonts. It's sans serif fonts. Serif fonts are the more professional. So think old time or Times New Roman. That where it has the serif at the end of the letters. And then you have the font that I'm using for my presentation. That's a sans serif. So there aren't little serifs at the end of my font. So it's a little bit more playful, not too much, but it brings a different element where you could be a little bit more casual. And so think about that. What is your header? What are those fonts that you're going to use in your social media, in your website? All of that is very important. Any questions about that?
We're gonna take a one quick break. I'm gonna do a drawing. Everyone have a ticket? If you don't have a ticket, let me know. We're gonna do a quick. That way, Bianca can take a sip of water or juice or coffee if she needs. She's giving some great information. Okay, if you agree that she's giving some wonderful information, let's give her a quick round of applause. And we're gonna do a quick drawing. And this item. Like I said yesterday, it was really great to go out and support and meet some of the vendors. So I'm going to do one quick draw and then we'll do another one. So this item, did y'all get to introduce yourselves? Yeah. Okay, so the cookies that she mentioned. So I was like, what's one of your best items? And so we have the cookie kind of moved to the side there. Tell them about your cookie really quickly.
Okay, so everything's organic. There's no like additives, preservatives. I make the butter for the cookies myself. I make it from nothing pretty much. And then it's safe for anyone with tree nut allergies. My son has a peanut and tree nut allergy, so I don't do anything with any kinds of nuts in my house at all.
So we're going to draw for that one, so you'll be in a different drawing. So if your ticket wins, you can pick whoever you want to give that to. So everybody grab your ticket, and I'm going to just have you pick the numbers and shoot. And call it out really quickly. Yes.
12, 52, 27.
27 is the last 2 digits. 27.
Oh, this is something that was
27. Okay, so we'll do.
Is this yours?
No,
Oh, that
Oh,
was
that young lady
Devonna.
who-
So yeah, so we'll do one more ticket. Pull again because Devonna had to leave. Thank you. She had to leave. She had to get back to work. She wanted to come say hi to everybody. All right, here we go again.
49.
49. Last 2 digits. 49. 49. Do we have anyone else that leave? 49. Okay, let's do another one. 49 might have been you.
all right.
23.
23. So we're gonna pass that cookie on down to you. Enjoy that cookie. All right, and back to you, Bianca.
Congratulations so much.
You're welcome.
Any questions before I move forward? All right, so as we talked about, brand clarity, it just boosts the confidence, but it also converts people. When you are confident and you know your brand, all of that goes together. I'll give you an example. When you're showing up for a big presentation, when you have brand consistency and you're confident, you don't have to worry about whether your presentation matches who you are. It's all together consistent, and that allows you to speak clearly and confidently. I know I can speak clearly and confidently me because I know who I am as a brand. I know what I bring to the table. Clarity changes everything is my tagline. So I know that, and I can speak about brand clarity. I don't have to start getting into 2D animations and all this other stuff, which is all great, but I know who I am. And so when you're pitching and presenting, that allows you to have that clear brand voice. And so when you have brand consistency, the trust is, as you know, trust is everything when you're dealing with a brand. Trust is everything. They don't trust you, that's it. And when you have that trust, that also allows them to tell other people, which is what you want for that organic growth, right? So when you are consistent with your brand, like we said, that 33%, it will literally pay off if you are brand consistent. And that is if I have to give you anything else, it's just a reminder that it's not just about the aesthetics. Yes, it plays a role, but it's also you understanding who you are. You don't want someone else to try to figure it out for you, right? When you look good, it makes you look like an expert. So if you're an expert, you want your brand to look just the way you would put on your clothes to make sure your body looks professional and sophisticated and like you know something. You want your clothes of your brand to do the same thing. That matters a lot. And so, a couple key takeaways. Clarity over flash. That's saying you want your identity to matter more than the latest design trend. Yes, there are trends out there, and that's great, but your consistency matters more. Sometimes even it's not like you have to spend $100,000 on your branding. Sometimes the mom and pops that's been around for 100 years, they have the consistency of letting people know we've been here for 100 years. And that alone is enough to build that trust. So it's not necessarily about looking like a Rolls Royce, but having that consistency matters most. And then also your checklist. Make sure you're thinking about your brand guide checklist. Your voice, the colors you're using, the fonts, is that all in place? And your brand guideline can, at this point, it can be a Word document if it needs to be. It's no big deal. Start where you are. Because you don't have to wait until you have all of these things to start worrying about your brand. You want to get that in first, and then you can start making tweaks along the way. And then confidence is key. When you are clear and cohesive, like you said, it will allow you to show up bolder. And the boldness, all of that works together. It's an attraction to your business. When you look like you know what you're doing, it attracts people. And as you know, it's deeper than just visual. It's really like a signal you're putting out into the world. And you want people to be able to attract to your business because at the end of the day, you are your brand. I can't express that enough. So if you say your brand is the happiest place on earth and you have an attitude, you need to fix it. Because you are your brand. You represent your brand when you walk in. When I heard everyone talking about their brands, I took that serious. I'm looking at you. No offense, I think we all do it. You make an initial judgment. We're looking at you. I'm looking at you. Pretty earrings, beautiful. And I saw that you match your brand. I can see with your outfit that you take yourself serious. Your outfit, your hair. I know that you take yourself serious as a person who wears hair. You're gorgeous, and you have this aura about you that's clear that you take yourself serious. Right? All of that matters. The way that you dress, all of that matters. How you take yourself serious. How it's not about talking a certain way. It's just making sure you align yourself with who you are. That's what matters most, right? Any questions about that? Yes.
So, my question to you, thank you so much for coming.
Yes.
Yes. Let's give a round of applause. Yes.
Speak to that individual who is just starting out. Like they go to AI towards looking, AI, makes them branding. They use what's that word you use? Cardstock.
Yeah.
But if they want to be a brand who wants to stay out here and be universal, what are some of the things that when they're not there yet, help them get there?
Use free tools for now. Canva is a great tool that did not exist just a few years ago. Adobe used to have a really big monopoly on the design software, and now there's a free, accessible software that can be used for now, if that's where you need to start. And then get yourself a focus group. So think about 3 to 5 people who are your target audience, and show them your branding and get some real feedback. And so that way you know you're not just coming out here and then everybody's like, "What's this?" But you'll be, and it can be trusted people, trusted peers. The Boss Babes Collective. You have your branding. Talk to each other. Say, what do you? How would you feel about my branding? Yeah, exactly. One of the things that, in fact, from the cohort from Siobhan and I, one of the things they told us to ask our peers is, how much would you pay for my service? Is this price point aligned with what I'm presenting? And all of those things go together. So get yourself a focus group so you can see where you start. And then
surveys.
Yeah, and surveys. And that allows you to at least have a starting point, and then you can start tweaking from there. And then also just be mindful of copyright. Make sure that whatever you're using, you're allowed to use. So Canva does have elements that you are free to use as long as you're not making apparel. But make sure you consider the copyrights, and then as you go along, you can add in a designer and say, I want to enhance what I have, and then kind of just bring it from there. But start where you are with the free software. There are tools that are there for you, and you can use them, or you get yourself a designer and be able to have a designer who can work with you to create things like your brand guidelines and those sorts of things. Does that make sense?
Just to kind of add to something that she said, I know with a lot of like new founders, it's more so like don't be afraid to have to update things, right? Like when I started my program, I went through so many reiterations because the market is going to dictate where you go next.
Yeah.
And I always say if you want it perfect, you have to perfect it. But you can't do that until you put it out in the world and you get the feedback. So I think a lot of people, like, fear stops them from even starting. Like, I'm just gonna do it. If I had an ideal in my mind, I'm gonna do it, and then I'm gonna figure out what works. I'm gonna tweak that, and then because we all have iPhones. I get an email almost every month, like we have a new update. iPhone isn't waiting to get it perfect. They're gonna launch. They're gonna launch, and then if they find something, they're gonna send you an update. The feedback. You update your phone, and you keep it pushing. So I just think that, it's okay to want it to put the best product out, but don't let searching for perfection prevent you from launching. It's not gonna happen.
That is so true. Can I add to that? You made a great point, and that's the thing we learned in the cohort. He said if you don't have anything that you will look back on and laugh at, like your old website, your old flyers, then you were waiting too long to perfect it. And you perfect along the way. So great point, ladies.
You don't have to be great to start, but you gotta start
You
to be
got
great.
to.
To make it biblical, it's just kind of like going back to church. Sometimes we say we're not ready because our life's not right. But
I'll meet you where you at.
And just be willing to do that. Just putting yourself out there. Talking to other people is putting yourself out there. And then just let it be. Nobody is, even as a designer, I'm not out here with a gavel waiting to judge anyone's branding. I'm just more so seeing if you're consistent, because that's really what matters most. Are you consistent while you're perfecting it? And that alone will help you to get somewhere to start moving upward and onward. Okay? And so today, I wanted to let you guys know if you are interested in doing a brand clarity session where I do more of a deep dive into your branding, into your messaging. I usually charge $197 for my sessions, but for Boss Babes, I am going to lower that to $79.
Oh, thank you, Bianca. Let me give you a round of applause. Thank you.
Yeah.
You guys, and that's a great value, I'm telling you, because if you go out there and look at some of these companies.
And the reason why I wanted to do that is because I believe it is important for us to work together to be able to use each other's expertise to, especially when you are adding in investors or adding in more presentations. Like for yourself, you're adding in more schools, which is amazing. You want to make sure that you are presenting yourself with your best. And so that session allows me to even look at your branding, because sometimes I'll work with this, people who have brands, and I will look to see where they are, and sometimes they don't need additional stuff, but they don't know that. And you don't want to just start hiring people just to be hiring them if you don't need it. But then sometimes you're not sure where you're lacking either. And so that allows you to be able to know where you are in the vicinity and see where you can go in your next direction. So you go to the site, just make sure you go to the 60-minute session and then use the code BOSSBABE.
Oh, she gave us a code, boss babe. Oh, that's so special. Bianca, you did that.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
Yes.
And I want to see your social media.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, you got to do this.
If you don't mind.
No worries. Can you pull it up there, or you want to, or you had a presentation?
Instagram?
Yeah.
Let me see if
This would be great.
I think I can do it for my iPhone.
Okay.
That would be perfect.
Hands on learning. Everybody enjoying Bianca
Yes.
today?
Oh my gosh. Good info.
And while Bianca, while you ladies are pulling it up, we have another guest. I'd like you to introduce yourself really quickly. Tell us your name and what you do and what brought you here today.
Well, my name is Monica Reynolds. I'm recently divorced, so I was Southern. I am a forensic psychologist, clinical therapist, licensed in the state of Virginia. I've been working under someone here for a little while in Florida, but I'm realizing that I'm being used a lot for my brains, and I recently launched 3 practices for a millionaire and realized I can do my help.
Y'all heard that?
He told me he had the money and I had the brains, and that's how he found me. And I've now opened up 2 practices. I'm just like, there's no reason why I can't do this.
So, yeah, we're here for you. And thank you for coming in. Who invited you here today? Oh, Tara. She did mention who Tara is to you first of all.
Well, so Tara is actually my sister.
Oh, she didn't tell me that part.
Not by blood.
Okay.
But I don't have any family here. And I met Tara many years ago, and it was a little rocky beginning, but over the last year or so, we've gotten very, very close where I call my family.
I love that. And divorce can be devastating. I'm happily divorced.
That part.
Yeah,
That
happily
part.
divorced. But I get what you're saying, because like starting over, and like me, I had to downsize from a huge home to, being in a condo, and it can be a little tough at times, but know that you have us here for you as well. So thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to be here. God makes no mistakes.
I need your number.
Being here is not a mistake. So thank you so much. Let's give her a round of applause. And that's why you got that bounce. Every time you turn
It's all about the family.
yeah. So back to you, Bianca.
All right. So, in fact, I have you come up and do it.
I'm sorry.
Y'all, this is gonna get real juicy.
Right, so we have Science of Beauty coming up. Science of Beauty, the Science of Beauty, correct. All right, so I pulled up her page, and I'm going to tell you immediately what sticks out to me. The brand colors stick out to me. She has consistency in her brand colors. I see the purple and pink and the accents of yellow. That is really important, so that when I'm scrolling through her page, no matter if I'm landing on a video, I see she has a cover image, and that allows me to be able to know immediately that, again, using her branding. I love this. She has like when you're in the wild and you're taking pictures?
Candid.
Candid. She has great candid photos where she's actively working with students. That's important because that tells me she's not just saying it, she's actually out there doing the work. She has 3 tips. She has like tip posts as well where she's giving resources to people, because that's important too. When you are in your branding, if you're branding yourself as an expert, what resources are you providing for people? Because they want to know that you know what you're talking about before they start to work with you. I also love your branding that comes in for even the videos again as well, and you are on there. That says a lot too. Sometimes people like to hide behind their brand.
I can't hide.
Yeah, there's no reason. you have a beautiful face, and that allows you to be known. So when people see her down the street, Science of Beauty.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I know.
I get that a lot.
Yeah, look at you wearing the color. Like, that says a lot, and that way it's recognizable. Like, oh yeah, I've seen you before. And then even looking at, look how consistent, no matter where I go on her page, there's something there that reminds me of her brand, whether it's putting her logo at the bottom or even using the typography in the same colors, the overlays. She has overlays that are in the color of her brand. I think this is amazing. I think you have amazing branding, and I can take you serious. I know that you take yourself serious. And that's something that to be mindful, even on social media, where there is this level of like relaxation, like it's more laid back. She's still taking herself serious where people can engage with that. And that would make me intrigued to look at her other elements that are on page. And then I'm likely sure her website aligns with her branding as well. And so when someone goes to be a convert to actually participating and registering, again, they can show someone, hey, I met, Zakia. I met Zakia, and if you want to go to her site and check her out, because now you're putting your stamp behind her, right? So somebody who doesn't even know her, never heard of her, can go to her social media and see who she is, what she takes serious. I'm going to look at her bio.
Oh, that was my question.
Yep. And so she put advancing the future of STEM education for beauty and inspiring the next generation of leaders in the process. And guess what she said today? Exactly what's on her bio. She's very consistent in what her messaging is. I knew that the first word you said was STEM. And I knew immediately, okay, you're dealing with when we talked about the school. All of that plays together, and then she has a call to action: join our community today. And saying the word community is also really valuable because you want people to feel like they belong. You don't want to be a country club with your brand, although some country clubs are country clubs. But you want to feel inclusive when you're speaking to people, where I feel like I immediately belong. I have a daughter, so I'm thinking, okay, I know that she deals with young children, and my daughter would be included in that, and that would intrigue me to know more about her. And I love also her highlights. Also have her branding as well. And the Science of Beauty logo, you've done a really nice job. It's a cute little cartoon. I love that. And then her name, and then also her sub-headline, The Science of Beauty STEM. That is exactly, there is no notes. This is exactly what you want in your brand messaging. Just being clear. It's fine to be candid, because you do want candid photos and videos, but what are you doing to tie it all back to your brand? So,
Thank you. So let me mention one thing. So like this is a new kind of thing that I've added to my this overall profile. So I started this thing called Founder Files, because I believe you don't show the work, you show yourself work. So what I do is I just showcase what it looks like to build this brand, like all the things that people don't see. Because people just see me show up at Spelman and think it just magically happened. But it's emails, it's flights, it's meetings, it's conferences, it's so many more things. And I think since I've added the Founder Files, people see what I do from a different lens. And people have given me feedback like, oh, you really work. I'm like, yeah. I know y'all think it's fun and cute, but I really be out here working. And so that's one thing that I'm glad that I decided to do. But thank you so much for the feedback. I appreciate it.
Yes, that was
excellent. That, again, taking yourself serious, people will take you serious. At the end of the day, we all would love to have people convert. And this is one of the primary ways and one of the very first impressions. So I really appreciate you all for allowing me to speak to you today. It's been a pleasure, and I hope that you learned something today. I hope that you can apply the brand clarity that we talked about, and that will turn into business confidence. So thank you.
Another round of applause, everyone. And then I'm gonna come over here and do our last couple of drawings. Let me get the little thingy out. Everybody, grab your tickets. And then we're gonna give out more tickets for the very last drawing. Everybody got your tickets out? I'm gonna come over here. Oops. I first want to present this to you, Bianca. Let's give her another round of applause.
Good job.
This is a little heavy, but your company actually was one of this is who I got this from. This is for you to enjoy your candle and some other items in there. You can pull it out if you like. When I saw her different displays at the table, I just had the support. So
yes,
thank you. You are so welcome, my dear. Thank you for being here.
So cute and sweet.
Yeah. So going around really quickly, just everyone, one quick thing that you learned today that you're going to utilize with your business. Let's go around and hear it really quickly. Just one quick thing.
Be consistent on what you say on every platform and when I go to speak.
Okay.
As I launch my awesome Ada radio show, talk show that I've been doing for the last 3 years, I look forward to our session together.
Awesome.
Okay.
Pleasure.
Thinking like a good tagline that ties everything together.
Awesome.
For me, it's really just that I can do it and it's not as complicated as it seems.
Good.
For me, I would say just confirmation that I'm on the right track.
Yeah.
To just keep going at that pace and rate.
I mean, it's just making sure that you show your branding and it follows you everywhere you go.
Awesome.
I think mine is, I have my colors down, but I think I've used like 30 different fonts.
For me, mine will be just making sure that everything, like you said, is consistent and that it looks like you take it serious. And right now, yeah, I need to do that. So yes, so that's what I'm going to take a great song.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think consistency overall and just like the brand identity. Yeah, making sure people are confused.
Yes.
Right. And let's do a drawing. I'm gonna have you pick a ticket out of here for us. Ladies, grab the ticket.
All right. So last three numbers: 226.
226. 226.
Yeah.
Woo! And we have this from Lulu Skin.
Oh.
It's the oil that she mentioned.
Oh.
Yes. And then we have one more drawing, everybody. Do the last drawing. It's gonna be for this was another one of the I love summertime. I love
That's
summertime.
gonna be mine.
I know my number.
That's gonna be mine because that's on my to-do list today.
To
get a door
she does. She also makes custom designs, but I also found out today who shared with me that their mom does.
Who
Someone
did this?
said, I think it was one of the waitresses that her mom does them too. But what warmed my heart is when I was told that this lady who sells the rings that no one had purchased from her before, that I was her first. She didn't tell me. One of the vendors here today told me. So that warmed my heart to find out that I supported someone and helped to put money into their
It's gonna be at the market next Saturday.
So lucky person. Last three. Yep.
Whoa. 2-4.
Last three numbers: 224.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah, will you ask now?
That's manifestation right there.
Come on over here. Come over here. You claim that it is yours. You ready?
All right. That's perfect.
Congratulations. You can just take it off whenever you want to just carry it. There you go.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
It really was on my to-do list.
Yeah. Like, that's her.
Go to Home Goods today to get something for the door.
Before you leave, I got one more thing for everybody. Let me grab these menus. I'll get them. I got them right behind you.
Yes, we won't be FaceTiming.
Oh, isn't this adorable? All right.
It has
I
the red
get
in
to
there.
make sure I showcase all of the businesses from yesterday who I purchased from.
I think I did. I want to make sure all of you ladies got credit. And take one and pass these around. Take one and pass them down.
So, for those of you, if you're a boss babe, say boss babe.
Boss babe.
Period. For those of you who are not,
I want to share with you that we are a vetted community of women entrepreneurs. Thank you. And why I say vetted, because we don't want to have any and everybody just sign up on the website, because you never know what you get. So we have been around for a year and 2 months or 3 months. Time is flying. But the reason why I started Boss Babes Collective, I would go out to different networking events and hear women say they do not like networking because they feel alone, or they'll meet someone and then they go back to follow up. I was one of these people. I go to follow up and that person would never reach back out to me. So with the collective, we women, we support each other, we network, we collaborate, and we partner. Like Eggs Up Grill, they're a perfect example. Come in here today, they allow us to come in here every single week and meet. But in turn, we're making sure we're supporting them. So sometimes you got McDonald's across the street or other places, and they're gonna get their money. We wanna make sure we keep this small business in business. So that's really important to me. But the thing that I love about connecting with each and every one of you, like even yesterday, she had on butterfly wings, y'all. Yeah, I love I'm a social butterfly. I was attracted to that. And just seeing that little cute little thing. Who else was with you with the wings on?
My mother-in-law.
My mother-in-law. So that really attracted me to her table, and then her smile, and then the products that she has. But the thing I love about the collective, ladies, is that we are supporting each other, because it's not always easy. Wouldn't you agree? Yeah. We have those moments where we question, why am I doing this? But when you have your boss babe sisters there for you, you can call me, you can call them. Ada and I are going to meet this week. She's like, Siobhan, I'm going to pick your brain. Pick my brain. So I love my sisterhood that I have with the collective. I have my master's in entrepreneurship and applied technologies. So my goal is to make sure that I help entrepreneurs and professionals to elevate their businesses to where they want it to be. I come from an insurance background, very stressful. I did catastrophic claims, so people would lose their homes. Some would even lose their lives. My son lost his life from a car accident. So I know how important it is to be there for others. But I thank you guys for being here today. If you open your trifold, my nail, I gotta go get my nails done today. But if you open the trifold, I broke one yesterday. If you open, you'll see some of the different things you will gain by being a member with us. As I mentioned, the collaborative opportunities. If you were here our first week, we had Chase Bank come out to speak. They're one of my biggest partners. And we're going to be having next month, they reached out to me over the weekend and said, Siobhan, which one of your boss babes have products that we can showcase for our employee appreciation day? So I've been reaching out to our boss babes saying, hey, who's got product? I just asked Ada, can you have some books ready for next month? So that's one of the great things about the collective, is we make sure that we're in front of these big organizations that can support us. I have everybody sign in for a reason. You register and sign in because my goal is to make sure I get funding for our businesses. Because expensive to run a business. So I want to make sure that I can put money, inject money into your businesses. Maybe be able to get you a $5,000, $10,000 grant that you don't have to pay back. So that's one of my goals. So Madeline is working with me to get my nonprofit going so that we can make this thing a reality.
Yes.
So that's some of the perks of being a member. We also like to party. So if you see on the left, we went, I make sure I curate suites so that we go up to concerts. We were at Anthony Hamilton and Fantasia's concert for that one. Some of the other things that we do, we will be having our second annual back to school event. It will be here at Eggs Up Grill. Really? So yes, Chase Bank is buying all the backpacks with all the supplies for the students. We also get supplies for teachers. Madeline's a teacher. Any of you in education know teachers get overlooked. So I want to make sure the teachers are included. We're going to also have hot food for the children because a lot of the kids in the nearby community don't get hot meals every day. So we're going to make sure they, get hot meals. So if you know any organizations that want to sponsor or be a sponsor with the other organizations, let us know. Lastly, if you go to the back, it's got my contact information. These are some of our community partners. But the way our membership works is we have 2 different tiers. We have a 6-month and then we have a yearly. The yearly is $300 for the year. That includes access to any and everything, all the referrals and everything that we offer. Also, one-on-one with me once a month. You get a 60-minute one-on-one with me to talk about your business. Or we have the option 6 months. 6 months is $150. So those are your 2 options. If any of you would like to join, make sure you let me know which one, and I'll send you the invoice so that you can get signed up to be a boss babe with us. Any questions?
Thank you.
No questions?
No questions. I have a comment.
Okay.
My question, you answered it. I was gonna say, did anyone know if you need grants, for startup businesses? But also, I wanted to share that Siobhan was my only customer yesterday. And I believe that it was my first, vending event, but I believe that was just divine. It was ordained. It was so that I could be here. You were my customer. You were the one that came, so that's why I couldn't do without. And she was telling me, and she was like, "Oh, I want to get something," And I just thought it was so awesome. But she just came with this amazing energy and with this light, and she just made my day.
Thank you. You just made mine. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And you guys, that's what it's all about, making sure you brighten somebody else's day. I'm used to being a vendor, and as a Boss Babe Collective member, you'll see when we do vending events, we take a whole row. So you come to one of our, we had something we did in St. Pete a month or so ago for homeownership. We had that whole row Boss Babe. So when you are with the collective, you are never alone when you go to an event. Even though I shopped alone yesterday, I just wanted to come support the vendors. But thank you guys for being here. Let me know if you want to get signed up. We can sign you up now today. And thank you guys for being here. Did you enjoy your food?
Oh, yeah.
Yes. Make sure you do a review. Go to Google review and give a review of the restaurant. That really helps them to get people to put them up in the algorithm. And thank you again, Bianca. You are amazing. Thank you. All right, you guys, you're free to network, or who didn't get in a photo? If I didn't get in a photo with you, please make sure we get at least a photo of you together today. Thank you, my dear. Thank you. Here.
So when is Paris? July the 9th.
Say that a little louder. When is what?
When is Paris?
She's going to Paris, everybody.
For work.
Yes.
Isn't that amazing?
That is beyond amazing.
Very nice meeting you, Pinellas County.